Hello everyone, I'm Greg Weaver. Welcome to The Audio Analyst. Hello everyone. As promised last week, today's episode will be a discussion of the highlights from the 8th Florida International Audio Expo. Held late last month from Friday, February 20th through Sunday, February 22nd at the Sheraton Tampa Brandon Hotel, the 2026 event was even more fun than last year's. The following discussion was recorded on Monday, immediately following the show, February 23rd, and features further commentary from my good friend and fellow audio journalist, Maurice Jeffries. Now, if you've followed the channel, you've seen him here many times before. And this episode was shot in his new apartment lounge in Orlando. So, the entire experience was still very fresh in our minds, and we had a lot to say. The conversation is long, so I'll not waste any more time with further setup. Let's have a listen. Welcome, everybody. We are in Orlando, Florida. I'm here with my buddy, Maurice Jeffries. You've seen him on the channel before. This guy was lazy. He came to the show, but he has no reporting to do. So I'm going to put him on screen. We're going to talk about the things we saw there. We have a nice Japanese whiskey. It's a little after 3:30 on the Monday after the show. We're here in Orlando in his new apartment lounge.
And as Greg mentioned, I attended the show just as a listener this year. I didn't do any reviewing or reporting for positive feedback or enjoy the music. I was lazy. He was white. And
he actually has a job. I'm retired, so he had to keep his professional standards. But we wanted to talk to you guys about it because the thing that most people know about us is we have very similar sensibilities. We may listen to different kinds of music, but we listen kind of for the same things in terms of what we look at for good sound.
And as a footnote, we tend to hear the same things, even though we might ascribe different values
to them. Yeah,
to what we hear.
Yeah, but when I hear shrillness, you hear shrillness.
I hear shrillness. Yes,
that kind of thing. Yeah, it's kind of amazing.
Well, there was one system in particular over the weekend, and I won't mention the room, but you and I both looked at each other, and I said, "Does that sound bright to you?" And you said, "That sounds really bright." And it didn't get any better. And we got up and left not long after.
And, that's the thing. We've been doing this for, I think the first show report I ever submitted was in the mid to late 1970s. Okay.
Amazing.
So, yes, I'm the old guy here. I get it. I totally get it.
12.
Yeah. So, but, so one of the things I think we should talk about first, because we're going to talk about the flagship systems that knocked us out. But
yes, absolutely.
I want to talk about the affordable stuff that knocked us out. Because, look, if you've watched the channel much, you know that I have this second space part that you were part of. You helped me launch that. You were there at the house when I launched that.
Indeed, we had a blast.
And the thing that's kind of fascinating to me is when I run across gear that's really affordable, or at least super above normal performance for its price, I want people to know, because I've gotten apparently a reputation. I've had some people accuse me of me being all about the expense, what it costs, and that's not it.
It's not true.
No, my statement has always been, you can find overachieving gear at any price. You can find a $500 system that'll make you dance and sing with joy. But by the same token,
you can hear a $500,000
the finest system you hear isn't going to be cheap.
That's
the best performance you're going to come across today isn't going to be cheap.
That's right.
But again, $500 system's fine. I mean, that's what makes you happy. That's fine. I'm not saying you need to go buy these other things.
And by the same token, it stands to reason that not all $500,000 systems sound like $500,000 systems. So.
The flip side of that coin is, of course, that the price alone is not an arbiter of quality.
That's right.
We've all heard very pricey products that sound like shit.
Absolutely.
No, I mean, I've heard things that sound like shit.
Understand that all this has to be taken with a grain of salt. These are show conditions by definition. They are suboptimal. So a particular room might sound unusually good. The components, the setup might be expert, but that exhibitor might just have lucked out and gotten a good room, quite honestly.
It does happen.
And the exhibitors really have no control over the quality of the rooms and the spaces that they are assigned before the show. Unless they're paying for one of the big rooms.
And even at that point, it comes down to how they are able to treat it, the amount of time they have to address the problems. I can tell you, a very large manufacturer set up long end in a room, and literally 4 hours before they thought they were going to be done for the night, before the opening, they tore the whole room down and changed the angle and redid it, and it was way better. But anyway, we're way off point. Shows are shows. You probably have been to a few. If you haven't, that's why we're talking about these conditions, how crazy they are. But I'd like to start off with what I see as a very important shift and level of performance delivery from a young man named Luca Chesky. Now, Luca is the son, he's 18 years old, he's the son of David Chesky, who has Chesky Records. He's a composer, a pianist, and a musician.
He's been a staple in the business for 30 plus years.
A couple of weeks now. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Now, what Luca is doing, now he started, and I talked about this last year in my coverage of this show. He came out with the LC1, which the pair were $995. 3D printed, resin, smaller speaker, that it was not the last word in resolution or definition, but God, was it engaging.
Surprisingly musical.
It was engaging as hell.
Dynamic, wonderful imaging and sound staging, which you'd expect from a small speaker. I believe the configuration is a 1-inch silk dome tweeter with a, I don't know whether it was a fabric or polypropylene or aluminum mid-bass driver, and then two basic
two loaded passive
radiators.
Passive radiators on the side, yeah. So this year, he's upped the game from $1,000 a pair to $2,000 a pair, $1,995. The LC2. Now, this speaker isn't just good, in my opinion. This speaker is blindingly exceptional. The thing that, look, from a monitor-sized speaker, one expects certain kinds of precision and extension limitations here and there, but nice depth, the hopefully no localization of sound. They disappear and present a nice soundstage.
Exceptional coherence because it's a simpler design in principle.
What knocked me out was the scaling this thing presented. It did not sound, granted, the passives and the coupling that they use with the loading from the front driver.
Well, yes.
But the scaling, this thing played, so he played some Vic Wooten bass guitar. And I've actually been lucky enough to have dinner with Bailey Fleck and Vic Wooten.
You know everyone.
That's not true. But, dude, I mean, the snaps on his bass, dude, it was insane. But the scale of that sounded so good. He played some classical that was like, holy crap.
And they filled the back third of the room.
Now, I agree. $2,000 by most standards is not cheap, okay? But again, the performance level that these speakers deliver at $2,000,
it's exceptional.
Unbelievable.
It's exceptional.
Unbelievable. And I'm going to keep looking at my notes. Luca, we love you.
Cambridge Audio.
Oh, yeah, let me go through that real quick. Hang on a second. Let me find my notes. Equipment. Because it was pretty affordable. The Cambridge Audio EXN 100 streamer DAC, but he only used the DAC. He was not streaming. He was playing files right from his laptop, okay? The Cambridge Audio EXA 100 integrated amplifier. That streamer DAC's like $1,800, and the integrated is about $2,400. And then it was all AudioQuest cables. I think they were Rocket Series.
Memory serves.
Yeah, I don't remember exactly. But, you know, the dynamism.
Serviceable in that system.
Look, the dynamics were off the freaking chain. Look, I am usually against monitors in general because they don't have, they have dynamic limits. That's what they do really well, but I want that scale, I want that power. And these things, Luca, you knocked it out of the park with this.
And this is a man with 600-pound loudspeakers in his listening room.
Yeah, that's kind of true. Yeah, kind of true.
He's spoiled, isn't he?
I'm a little spoiled, yeah. Now, the one that you kind of pointed out to me and turned me on to.
Oh, this was...
We went in, yeah. This was also on the fourth floor, right down from Luca's room.
Right around
Let's
the
see
corner.
what it was. In room 427. It was sponsored by Orchard Audio, but it featured something from a company called Soundfield Audio. Now they're
located in Tampa.
They're a Tampa manufacturer. They're from that area. So now I'm looking at my notes because I don't remember all this. Okay, the Orchard is from Succasunny in New Jersey, and these guys are from Tampa.
Yep. And the Orchard is the server preamp.
Orchard, yeah. Well, they were using a Pecan Pie streamer, a Pecan Pie Plus streamer, and it was like, I don't know, 15. I don't think it was more than $1,500. Now let me look here. It was about $1,500, and they were using these 25-watt mono Class D pod amps that were sitting on top of these monitors. I'm going to get to in a minute.
Very short.
They were about $2,500 a pair. But these Soundfield audio mini-mons, they're called mini-mon, $1,400 a pair.
Stunningly good.
So I was in there with another guy who's been doing this. He's my age. He's been doing this as long. And we both were staring at each other like, holy cow. This was insane. These speakers.
Doug White?
Yeah, it was Doug. Sorry, Doug. You got busted. I didn't bring it up. He did. We'll blame him. But yeah, we were sitting there listening to these. And I mean, the whole system with cables, which they didn't really identify, I don't think.
I didn't.
But the whole system was under $5,500. The whole system.
Reasonably priced.
And
the sound was not just...
It was phenomenal. Staggeringly good. I could have easily believed we were listening to much larger loudspeakers. They had...
passive radiators on the rear.
Did they?
Yes, they did. Okay. 2.
Yeah, I never looked.
Yes,
but
I did.
Dude, they were again, their sense of tonality and texture were stunning for their price, which granted, most monitors are good at that, but these were just exceptional. And
bloom, air, decay, wonderful articulation.
Tremendous body, and I was blown away with how well they presented the texture of horns and guitars. It was
voices.
Just it was fabulous. So shout out to Soundfield Audio.
Exceptional sound.
Really excellent audio. Really great sound. It was up on floor 4, right? One of the other rooms on floor 4 I got to talk about. I'm sure you'll go along with me on this.
Is this the Margules?
I've known Bruce Ball since the 90s because he was from Vegas, so I'd go to CES and always see Bruce Ball. Now he's got a distribution company. His new company is called Badass, BADASS. Sorry, Ball Audio Distribution and System Solutions. I think that was made up to fit the title Badass.
Sure,
but
yeah.
Bruce, we dig you, man. He's pretty funny. Now he's been representing Margules Audio for a long time. And Margules was founded in Mexico City in the late 1920s.
Yeah, they're at least as old as Macintosh, if not a little bit older.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Now, Julian Margules took over the helm of the company in 1985, I think.
Well, let me ask, were they by chance involved in professional audio studio monitors?
They built stuff for commercial radio stations, things like that. They've been around doing that forever. I believe he's the third CEO of the company. And I've known Julian. I met him in the mid '90s at CES. In fact, in '99, I reviewed my first Margules audio product. Their phono stage in 1999 was the first time I reviewed something. But Margules is making some really cool stuff. Now they have a feature or a design thing they call ANA, ANA, and it stands for neuroacoustic alignment. It's a technology that they use to enhance harmonics for a more organic sound, and it's their electronics. It's the way their electronics hand off to each other. Now, this system was their Margules TD25 turntable and tone arm, which they didn't identify the cart, and I didn't look.
But if memory serves, it's priced at around $5,000 to $7,000 for the setup.
I couldn't remember. The table was about $6,000 with the toner.
Okay,
I don't remember what the cartridge was.
I think they had it on display last year also.
And then the new Margules, the Magenta FZ 47B phono stage, is about $2,500. They had a streamer, their MS-01, which is a server streamer. It's $3,500-ish. And we'll see. Then, so that hands off to their SF220 tube line stage. And it's
85?
8-ish.
8-ish.
Yeah. And then a pair of their flagship, the 30th anniversary editions of their U280 SCs. They've been around for a while. They're really nice looking.
12 each.
12 each.
12
yep.
each.
12 each. And they had 2 pair of speakers showing. One pair had been kind of haphazardly thrown in, the little monitors, the Century Overtures.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I thought they looked fabulous. I thought
did.
they sounded really good considering. But when Julian was kind enough to take them back out of the setup and just leave the intermezzos play,
which are about 30,000.
They're 30-ish. Dude, those intermezzos.
They're phenomenally good.
Dude, that system, and there's an elegant simplicity to the look. There's a beautiful elegance to the look. By the way, his daughter does all the industrial design on
I
that.
think we heard that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Julian's daughter. Dude, that system was not overwhelming, not underwhelming. It was not too forward. There was a sense of correctness and balance and naturalness there that was in. I mean, I remember what I listened to. I made some notes. Oh, he played a Johnny Cash, the live bootleg.
Yes.
And he played House of the Rising Sun. I'm like,
and you could hear the full depth of Cash's raspy baritone, with all of its angst and urgency, and
the guitar,
the transients of the guitar. You could hear the fingers plucking the strings, and
it was fabulous.
I mean, you could hear every agonized moment in Johnny Cash's tumultuous but storied life. It was really magnificent, and the system just has an ease and transparency and an engaging naturalness. We thought the same last year.
Yeah,
where it won in my show report one of the best of show awards.
They were in my top 5.
Yep.
And here's the thing that's amazing to me. You know, Julian, that company's been around since pre-dirt.
Yes.
Okay. And barely anyone in the United States knows it. So my compliments to Bruce Ball for promoting it.
Absolutely.
And Bruce, you know.
Amongst audiophiles, it should be a household name.
It should
like
be a
Prima
name.
Luna.
It's excellent.
Like
gear.
Parasound.
And it looks beautiful. It plays beautifully. It's dependable. The warranties are great.
It's just fun to look at.
And Julian's a good guy. I've known him for a long time. All right.
Seek the brand out.
Yeah, go find it. Next time you get a chance to go to a show, Bruce is at most of the events. I'm pretty sure he's going to be at Expona. If I'm wrong, I'm sorry, Bruce, but I think you're going to be there.
Get the hints, lazy dogs, and
in there and listen. It's amazing stuff. It's absolutely amazing stuff. I mean, he played Six Blade Knife for me on vinyl, and I'm a Knopfler fan from the beginning, and that record sounded great. Anyway, anything you want to bring up, particularly before we move on to the big dogs?
We're talking about affordable systems, and the last affordable system, and it straddles the margins between affordable and a little bit pricey, were the Marten mini monitors, two-way.
Yeah.
I forget, this was not a show report.
We didn't take notes on that room.
Yeah.
You and Jeff had been in there, and you had gone down the hall, and the room was kind of full, but I stuck my head in. And when you guys came back down the hall, I said, did you go in there? And we were all like, oh my God, yes.
Precise, focused, not necessarily the optimal amount of bloom or air, but they were transparent, coherent, musical. They're beautiful to look at. They strike me as very easy to drive. They were extraordinarily linear and natural and open sounding. I'd like to get a pair here in the new apartment lounge and put them through their paces. The big dogs.
On the first floor, there were some big dog rooms. And I'm going to wait to mention one of them because they haven't shown that speaker for 8 years.
Yeah, 8 years.
Anyway.
Since 2018, I believe.
Yeah. You know, I've had the absolute pleasure of knowing Jonas Rentila, who is Perfect 8. I ran into him he's
Denmark or Sweden?
Sweden. It's a Swedish company.
Swedish company.
Yeah. I met him initially at CES 2010. He was showing this particular, the original version of this particular speaker. It's called the Point. He uses all glass.
Mm-hmm.
The Point was, at that show, B.A. Labo, it was nuts. And Steve McCormick, Jim Murad, me, we sat in that room for an hour, close to an hour and 20 minutes, because it was like, oh my God, play this. Oh my God, play this. Now, in this room at this show, he'll be the first one to smack himself in the head and say, look, I had amp issues, I had line stage issues, but I'm going ahead with the show. Now,
yeah, they weren't his reference gear. I think we had a Thrax preamplifier.
It was not there.
It wasn't
the Thrax was no.
The Thrax wasn't there.
He was using a Procasti. He usually uses the
Oh,
Thrax.
you're right. You're right.
Yeah. But anyway,
which is not a.
It's not like it sucked or anything. It's just it was not.
It wasn't
it wasn't what he wanted to be using. Now the thing is, we're definitely getting into the stratospheric stuff here because the points are $167,000 without tariffs.
I guess a ridiculously low 65,000.
Yeah.
Which tells you about my skill in pricing.
Well, you never know. You never know. The whole room was about $500,000. So I apologize. But what we heard, I mean, he played. So I've known George Vaknazi since he's been in the United States. Now, he's moved back now, but he was a piano professor
when
at
you
DePaul.
Say moved back to where?
Tbilisi, back to Georgia.
Oh, he is back in Georgia.
He's back in Georgia, yeah. But he taught at DePaul. He taught piano. Mm-hmm. He was a world-class musician, a pianist who traveled the world touring. He recorded in 2017. He recorded the Rachmaninoff Third Piano Concerto, the Rach 3, at Osaka Hall.
And that won one of your Recordings of the Year awards.
Well, again, David Chesky published that, and I sent you the digitals before it was available. Mm-hmm.
And I
George
believe
actually
you can stream that.
It's on GoBuzz, probably on the other ones. Yeah. But first of all, it's we heard that there, okay, and I was just, the ease and the flow was superb. And I've heard George before even it got mastered. I heard George's recordings in my room because he and his wife Kiyomi came to meet Stella when she was a puppy.
So Kiyomi Audio, George's old retail outlet, was named after his wife. I didn't realize this.
But this system, what Jonas did with this system, considering he had gear that he felt was subpar, was still
it didn't sound subpar.
Staggering. No, dude.
Gut crushing dynamics, bass through the bottom of the floor, staging and scaling like nobody's business.
Layering better than too many others. One other system I heard there layered better.
Yes.
Other than that, it was the winner in that category. He played that A Holy Night from the
Swedish version. Yes,
dude. You could hear every voice, and it was layered. There was texture. It was staggeringly good. He actually did a seminar there too, which he's going to join me on the channel.
In that room?
No, he did it upstairs, in the seminar room.
I saw
that's where you met me that day.
Yes, I saw the tail end of his conversation.
But he's asked me if we could do. It's like an hour-long seminar. We're going to break it up into 3 pieces and do it on the channel at some point. It's pretty fascinating.
Great idea.
Jonas, I've known him for a long time. He's dedicated. He's a judoka.
He's as nice as no ego, so to speak of. Everything's about the audio and his family. Great guy. Oh,
and do you remember the Rammstein he played? It was like we were in a rave. I mean, it was like it was insane.
It's like somebody screaming Odin Grimnir at the top of their lungs with a bottle of vodka. It was outrageous.
It was very good.
As an African American, it was just so white. I'm looking at
it. All right. So. Shout out to the Perfect 8.
Jonas, magnificent job.
Yeah, really good job. I got to talk about Brandon 4 because we've met a new Gershman loudspeaker, the Symphoria. Now, this is a speaker I believe Ellie was trying to introduce at Munich last year, and it didn't get done in time. And this is the first time I've heard it. And I think they've shown it before. I apologize because I didn't get to.
But hopefully, it won't be the last time.
It better not be. It's about $70,000, but. Wow. This is, their flagship, I believe, is called the Posh.
And over 100, maybe.
I think it's about 125 or 130-ish. Yes. I apologize, guys, if I'm wrong. But the front end in this room was the LampizatOr Gulfstream streamer, which I can't remember how much it is.
I want to say
it's around 8
or 9.
Yes, that's what I remembered. The Horizon 360 DAC, which is get out of town.
50,000.
It's 55,000.
Yeah.
But it's
sound quality.
Wukash makes some of the. I still have the Baltic 4 from LampizatOr. I can't care about it. Now they were using some of the newer Pass Labs. They had the XP32, which is the 3 chassis line stage,
which is about 22,000, or is it 30?
20-ish. I know 20-ish. It's 20-ish.
Yes.
I don't remember for sure where it is. I'm sorry. And then they had a pair of the X60 or X600.8s. Which are about 32,000 a pair.
This sound did not suck, by the way.
And all Cardas cables. I don't know what series they were, but dude, this was a really simple system. Mm-hmm. Streamer, DAC, amps, speakers,
and line stage.
Yeah, this was. look, there was a degree of engagement, emotional engagement, based, I think, primarily on the tonal purity of these things and the textural senses. I mean, you hear guitars and you could tell whether it was a nylon string or a bronze string, whatever it is. What'd you think of that room, dude?
Pianos, you could hear the felt, the strumming of the, what do you call them, the keys,
the hammer on the
hammer. Yes.
Yeah.
You could hear articulation in voices. You know, the articulation, the breathing, the wetness of the mouth, the proper phrasing and articulation of consonants, but it never in your face. Always in a very natural and a very relaxed system. It was a very laid back and engaging system. It was not a dynamic in your face, come and here I'm a special player, come and listen to me. It was rather sit back, relax, have some nice Japanese.
Man, it was a relaxed sense of detail. It was kind of the thing, like you're sitting, 2 tables out from a jazz concert, from a jazz
and the band is
club.
Playing on every track at just the right volume level to engage, but not to overwhelm. And it's the kind of sound that I could listen to for 8 to 10 hours.
I could sit there and have absolutely no stress from listening.
Not the last word in resolution, perhaps.
No, but
that wasn't the purpose.
That wasn't the purpose, right?
That's all about musicality and
the Symphoria was. And it's done differently. The cabinets, the isolation, the woofers are in the different cabinet. They're using these special isoacoustic devices that were made for them, so that the mid treble, it's kind of like a diamond shape, and it sits totally in the V above the woofer, completely decoupled from it.
And they're really quite beautiful to look at.
They really are attractive. All right, now I want to mention 2 things briefly, if it's okay with you. And then I want to talk about the big dog that really knocked me out.
Bit both of us.
Yeah. So, Florian, the Clarisys loudspeakers. Last year at this show, he showed the Atrium, the flagship.
$750 a pair.
Yeah, a little
more than that.
A little more than that. And then he showed them again in May in Munich. Last year in this big room, they were a knock. He was playing some full-scale orchestral stuff, and I never felt more like I was in the presence of a concert hall being entertained by a live performance by any of his speakers before. The same thing happened in Munich. This year he was showing the Aria. It's one down from that. And again, Pass Labs amps. So there's 4 pieces. There's a
bass panel.
And it looks like a sail. It looks like a sail on a ship. And there's a narrow mid-treble panel. So there's 4 panels. So he's running 2 amps, 1 amp on each woofer, 1 amp on each treble bass.
Again, Pass Lab Electronics.
Those were Pass. The 600.8s, and I think it was the 160.8s. Pink Fawn, MSB.
Meaning digital stack.
Yeah, I think the MSB was the Cascade, I think.
It was the Cascade.
And the Pink Fawn was probably the Dual Ultra Streamer, I think.
That I can't recall.
I'm pretty sure it was the Dual Ultra Streamer. Anyway, what a magnet. First of all, just the look. You walk in there and you're like, okay, this
is drop dead gorgeous.
So, and it was funny, Mike Bovard, who is Suncoast Audio, who brings in those speakers here.
And who is a co-owner.
He told us,
50% stake in Clarisys.
He's a co-owner now. But I walked in just to walk in, and I wanted to go see it. And I got 10 feet inside, and I'm like, he was looking at me and saying hello. I'm like, this is Jeff Beck at Ronnie Scott's. He goes, yeah, it is. It was immediately that clear what was going on. And that system had scale, nuance, layered amazingly well for a planar dynamic type driver.
Absolutely.
It was amazing.
To my ear, the system really stood out because every cut that Mike played was so just unfazingly gorgeous and beautiful sounding. And I think when Greg and I talked at the show, those are the words that I use. This is simply a gorgeous sounding system with incredible air and
not lush, but
beautiful in the way that a clear stream is beautiful in late fall when it's picking up the colors of the gold and red from the leaves. And that kind of natural organic warmth.
That's the organicness of it.
It was just a beautiful sounding system. I can't imagine a piece of music not sounding if it's well recorded and beautiful sounding ravishingly beautiful.
Yeah,
it was
fabulous.
remarkable.
It was fabulous. Thank you, Florian and Mike.
Yeah, they were about 190,000 a pair.
I think they are. You know what? But I wrote that down. Hold on a minute.
But
I apologize.
In my estimation, if you're a hedge fund manager, a neurosurgeon, and can afford the price of entry, and you have a large room with proper electronics, you can't go wrong. They're simply magnificent speakers. Amongst the finest on the planet, I would say.
At today's market, absolutely. Now, if you don't mind, we're going to talk about the speaker system and the electronic pairings that I haven't seen it since 2018. You guys all know I own von Schweikert speakers. I got to thank Scott Walker. Yeah, that's true. I'm sorry, I forgot there's a pair here. We're going to talk about those in another episode. But Scott Walker had the sense to bring the Ultra 11s back to a show. And Damon was there, Damon von Schweikert, for bringing the 11s, because nobody's heard them at a show since 2018, as you pointed out briefly earlier. Now look, that system was incredible. The front end they were using was the Synergistic Research Voodoo server, which is $15,000. Mm-hmm. The MSB Cascade DAC, it's $95,000. I think it's a 3-stage.
And I should say something about the MSB gear. I've heard it on a number of occasions. I'm not necessarily the biggest MSB fan. To my ear, the gear sounds overly analytical without the kind of air and boom that I embody
most of the time.
But that was not the case here.
I didn't hear it. I heard all I heard in there was the Sonorous tape deck. They had a Sonorous ATR 10 Mark II. And that's all I heard.
I did give Damon a rough time because for the first 2 visits to the room, all they were playing was James Taylor. I love James Taylor, but you got to play.
You got to play. Well, they played. I was in there 3 different times. And,
I was.
Oh
too.
my god! They had a pair of Kevin Hayes, his VAC Master 300 Mark IIs, the IQ Mark IIs. Mm-hmm. They're $50,000-ish each. I think something like that. And the Ultra 11s, which are just shy of $400,000 now. I'm sorry to say.
I think $395.
$395.
What Damon said.
Yep. Now these guys are smart. Because it's a big room and they don't want node problems, they use a pair of subs to the back corners that are phase inverted or phase managed. They're not complete inversions necessarily, to manage the nodes in the room. So as you walk around that room, the bass does not sound lumpy. It does not get like boomy here and nulled here. Yeah. It's almost completely uniform through the room because the way they set up these subs in the back, it's not to add bass.
It's simply
to manage nodes. Right.
That's right.
And quite honestly,
linearity and pitch precision, and they did that remarkably.
And they've been doing it for 12 years or 13, maybe 15 years.
And by the way, these folks will take all day to set up the system before the first showing.
Sure, but this is an old home theater trick. This is something that
you mean using a subwoofer?
Using subs to control nodes in a big room where you're doing a theater, but it came out beautifully. But the thing that has always blown me away with the big von Schweikerts, and these count because I'm talking about anything with the ambience,
the ambient retrieval circuit,
that retrieval circuit, is that the corporality of the soundstage, the belief that you could, with your eyes closed, get up and walk over and shake hands with the players to touch the crash cymbal, the ride cymbal, the tom, the kick, and the other thing that many other speakers do a decent job, but these layer so far back, and the thing that they do differently and better than any other brand I've ever heard at any price is they illuminate the back corners of that stage. It's not, most speakers have that conical, you get some precision at the drum kit and whatever,
and but the sound is very focused
into the back corners.
Yes. And it translates into a sense of bloom and openness and naturalness.
And a visceral reality that you feel like you can touch these people.
Cymbals have a body to them. It's not just the shimmer and it's not just the transient. It's the
hear that bronzy decay.
Yes.
Yeah, it's fabulous. Guys, I know it's ridiculous, okay? I'm not saying you all should go buy these because they're not affordable. I understand.
It's fun, man.
But what this system is doing, one of the things these guys are trying to present is, this is what it can be. This is, as at this point in my opinion, taking taking the right seat in that room, closing your eyes. This is as close to that ultimate suspension of disbelief that you're going to get today, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Now, nobody's heard everything, but I'll guarantee you I've heard a lot of crap over the last 45 years.
And here's what I've learned about listening to the big von Schweikert systems. As you move down the line, you lose dynamic expressiveness,
Maybe.
you lose bass extension,
Right.
You lose scaling, but that naturalness, that corporality, is a defining feature from their least expensive to their most expensive speakers.
And that family DNA, the familial sound is, I think these are the least expensive speakers they make that have the ambient retrieval.
That's right.
And when we set these, I came up here last year after the show and helped him. We got the room tightened up. I came to help him set up the turntable.
That's right.
The reason was to get your turntable
That's
set
right.
up.
We dialed everything in.
But this room, when I left last year, we were both stunned with how good this room sounds. Anyway, guys, enough of the rant and the rave. There were some great times there. The other thing that I got, I got to mention, Scott Walker also sponsored the room where I did my late night after hours LP session. So we had Acora Acoustics with the
reference statement stack again.
The same Master 300 Mark IIs, the IQ Mark IIs.
The statement phono stage.
The statement phono, statement line stage. The VPI Avenger Direct. This year we had the Hana Black.
And it's stunning, folks. I own the Hana Red. The Black is considerably better.
Look, that room is almost goes without talking about. It's always on the short list.
It's magnificent.
Of everybody that goes there. And they're crazy enough to let me go in there unsupervised to play music till we played from 8 to midnight. So many people were kind enough to post stuff about how much fun they had that night. We had a blast. My thanks to Scott Walker, to Kevin Hayes, and to Valora. Those guys, they were just great. And we had a blast in there. And I just can't believe they let me do these shows. We have so much fun. I think that's about it for a wrap. What else do you want to talk about?
One other speaker that really struck me as an outstanding bargain.
Okay.
This is the Magnaplan Maggie 2.7x.
Oh, the X.
So the X designation, yes, the X designation means that they have improved crossover components, enhanced wiring. They're considerably more expensive than the stock versions. The 2.7x runs, if memory serves, about $10,000 a pair. They're quite imposing, but quite attractive, as Maggie's are.
They were planar dynamics go. They're pretty nice.
They were paired with a gaggle of aesthetics, hybrid tube, solid state electronics, a clear audio turntable. I don't recall the specific model. And I'm missing another component. Not component, but this was not a Maggie room. This was not an aesthetics room. This was a room put together by a local retailer, Sonore.
Okay.
Sonore. I believe they're a Florida retailer.
Makes sense.
This was one of the best sounding rooms in the show, the Maggie 2.7x. If you are looking for a speaker in that price range, it was a nice looking and a great sounding system. Greg and I heard a $65,000 pair of loudspeakers that sounded
We're not going to name them.
Less impressive.
Oh my God!
Than the $10,000 Maggie 2.7x.
We were not in there at the same time. We both ran into each other over a drink later or whatever, and it was like, "Did you hear the blah blah blah?" And he's like, "Yeah." And we both waited to make sure we weren't going to offend each other, and they were like, "Not so good."
Now, having said that, one cannot out of hand lay.
Could have been the room. Could have been the synergy.
Absolutely right.
Yeah.
These are show conditions, and so some exhibitors are just stuck with crappy rooms.
Well, and to be fair, I mean, let's call a spade in the sense that some of these guys, they might be great audio dealers. They might understand business. They might know how to do ordering and purchase and manage stuff. But not everybody is a setup expert. I've seen guys come in, do stuff, walk up and go, there, that's it, it's good. And I'm like, are you on crack? Dude, did you listen to that?
Yes.
Are you done? You're done?
No, I haven't listened.
Yeah. So, and again, I'm not trying to slam anybody. I'm just saying that room setup is an art.
That's right. And some folks know how to play the game, and some don't.
Just don't know how to do it right. So,
absolutely.
All right. I think these two old farts have talked long enough, guys. Thank you for your attention. You can use the index below to skip to what rooms or what portions you want to hear. You don't have to listen to my whole.
And you can send your Patreon payments. Instead of sending them to Greg, you can send them to Maurice
Jeffries. He doesn't have a Patreon account. He doesn't have a Patreon account. Kids these days. Brother, always a pleasure to come see you.
Brother, this was a great time.
We always have a good time, and people seem to think we fit pretty well together when we start blabbing. So,
for a white guy, you're pretty nice.
Folks, everybody, thanks for watching. We love you all. Keep tuning in. We'll see you again.
Goodbye.
I hope we made it clear just how much fun we had and how good this show was overall. While it is a relatively small show, it offered the advantage of allowing us to spend quality time listening to and really experiencing every room that really spoke to us. And I have to say, there were a good number of such rooms at this event. My thanks to Bart Andir, Sue Toscano, and the entire team responsible for the event. Job very well done, guys. Finally, I want to extend my deepest thanks to Maurice for his time and hospitality while I was in Orlando. Though I stayed at the Hilton Garden Inn downtown during this visit, he made sure I had some great grub. We hit some amazing eateries, including the amazing Four Rivers Smokehouse Barbecue Restaurant and a small chain called Tin and Taco, where I had a chance to experience 3 of the most delectable, non-traditional, fusion-style tacos imaginable. Hell, it was worth visiting just for the food. Thanks, buddy. As always, thank you for taking the time to drop by today. Further information on supporting the channel and my efforts may be found in today's description section or at my companion website, theaudioanalyst.com. Please stay safe and keep the music playing. Till next time, cheers.